The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida.
This is episode 28 of the Finding Florida podcast on the Florida Podcast Network, the return of Florida sports and mating Gators.
Welcome to Finding Florida, the podcast that takes you from country to the coast. Join your tour guides, an unlikely pair, city girl Jemmy and country boy Glenn, as they explore the amazing sights and sounds of the Sunshine State.
This is the Chief Fun Officer of this show, and I am Glenn the Geek in Ocala, Florida.
Chief Fun Officer, Chief Geek Officer, Chief Dork Officer. I'm Jemmy Lagagne in Boynton Beach, Florida, the Chief Enthusiasm Officer. And on this episode, Josh Cohen of ESPN West Palm shares his thoughts on how sports will resume in Florida. Beware of mating gators. We're giving you the warning, people. We also have a mystery sound revealed. And of course, just more Florida news. Listen in.
Well, one of the cool things that happens here in Florida that is tourism related is everybody traveling to watch space launches. I have never gone to the beach down there near Cape Canaveral to watch a launch. Have you?
I haven't either. However, I've been able to see them from my own backyard before. And you and I have really,
watched them really together cool. From down your way.
Oh, that's true. We have.
Yeah,
I think it was an accident. Was it an accident?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you never know. But yeah, it's always been this kind of interesting thing. And, you know, it's part of Florida's history that NASA's been taken off from here. It's just, I grew up with that stuff down here. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, there's a big one coming up on May 27th, and that is they're going to do the first human space flight to launch from U.S. soil in nearly a decade.
Wow.
We haven't launched any people in a while. We've been letting the Russians do that for us. But now we're looking at doing this in conjunction with SpaceX. And they're pushing forward with the mission, even with the pandemic. I guess they're keeping the astronauts. You know, astronauts are pretty much kept in isolation anyway. So
they're like 14 days. We got this.
Yeah, in the last 2 years, SpaceX and Boeing have been working for the past decade to return to human space flight. All those launches that you keep hearing about, have been practiced for this.
Yes.
It's only cost $2.6 billion and $4.2 billion on Boeing's part to get this done. So basically it's $6 billion to get two people in space.
Wow. Wow.
So by the way, I would have went into space for $1 billion. They could have done it for that.
So cheap.
Yeah, I know. However, they do not want you coming down to watch. Because of the pandemic, they're discouraging people to come down and watch the launch. They really don't want people lining up on the beaches. They really are having no spectators in the stands. If you've ever been and done the tour down at NASA, they have actually spectator stands that you can buy tickets for that are right across.
I've seen Armageddon. I've seen it. You've seen the spectator stands in Armageddon.
You and I have seen them on one of our trips.
It's true.
So, yeah, they're discouraging that. They really don't want it. They say they're going to be broadcasting it everywhere, and all of these launches are broadcast everywhere. So they'd rather you stay home and watch it on your computer.
Probably a good idea. Another one of those virtual vacation experiences.
Right.
like
and to be honest, watching one rocket launch with people or without people, you don't know the difference anyway.
That's true.
They all just look like rocket launches.
That's true. That's true. But, best of luck to our NASA crew. So proud of them and excited for them. I mean, you work so hard to get in a position to be able to launch into space that I know this is a dream come true.
$6 billion worth of
yeah, definitely. So I'm just happy for them and congratulations. And I can't wait to, that's something that has to be on our list when we're allowed to go and do all this stuff again. We need to go and check out the NASA grounds as far as they'll let us in.
And these astronauts will be going to the International Space Station. So it's just a way to get people to the space station in addition to the Russians.
Nice. And maybe next time I can pay them to take you.
I'll go.
Florida, where you get school credit for learning to water ski.
So I have the pleasure today of introducing Glenn to my buddy Josh Cohen of ESPN West Palm. I've known Josh for quite a while now, and he's a pillar of our West Palm Beach community, in particular with regards to radio broadcasting and more particular in regards to the sports scene here. So he actually was a guest of mine on episode number 89 way back in 2016 on Curve the Cube. I mean, way back. So I'm so excited to have him on this show now, joining us for the first time ever. Hello, Josh.
It's been a while, right? In 2016, it was that long ago?
That was when I met you at the lobby of your apartment and we did that interview. It feels like forever ago, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, it was weird because we went to like the clubhouse in my condo.
Yeah.
There's a rooftop pool and at my high rise, and there's a rooftop pool and there's a clubhouse. And so I figured it'd be good to record in there, acoustically probably beneficial. There was a dude in there, I don't know if you remember, there was a dude in there that I'd never spoken to before, but he was a neighbor of mine. Like he lived in the condo 1 or 2 down, and he kept looking. And when we finished, he said, "Oh, I recognize your voice." So we lived next to each other for like 3 years. And he didn't know that was me. But he used to listen to the slow back. Yeah, so you ruined my anonymity in my building.
You never know where the fans are lurking, Josh. It could be right next door.
I like to keep my head down, keep a low profile. You outed me to my neighbor, so now when I see him, he always says hello now. So
you're welcome. Hey, look at it this way. Now you have a buddy in quarantine.
No, but that's why I avoid that. If I do that on purpose. That's why I remain quiet. I don't talk to my neighbors.
So sorry, not sorry. So this is the personality you guys could hear every single day, 3 to 5 p.m. Josh Cohen and the Home Team. It's a fantastic show. And I just wanted to get your pulse on what is going on with sports right now in Florida. We have so many people who they're big fans of our teams. They want to go out and see things, see the games and everything else. Everything's on hold. So can you give us any insights or updates on how things might kind of start getting back online? What's being planned? What's out there? What's the word?
Yeah, we go back to, March the 11th. I was at spring training for a first pitch with a young man who's battling leukemia at 15 ballpark at the Palm Beaches. And it was the Nationals and it was the Astros. It was like a replay of the World Series last year. And, people were talking about COVID-19 and understanding that things were going to change, but had no idea that 24 hours later, everything would come to a stop. Spring training baseball stopped in just its second week. And you know how huge the economic impact is. First of all, you live around here, you go to games regardless because it's just part of living here, that experience, spring training. But with that came the shutdown of these ballparks, these teams, these games, all of Major League Baseball, obviously then stopping the beginning of the Florida State League for the minor league baseball clubs. And it all happened so fast. That night, March the 11th, I think the NBA was suspended because players from Utah Jazz that fell ill and were testing positive. So the NBA quickly, March Madness was talking about playing without fans in attendance, including sites that were going to take place in the state of Florida. And then that quickly went from playing without fans to not playing at all. And people realized how big and how real this was. It's hard to believe, but this was just 7 weeks ago today, as a matter of fact. 7 weeks it has been. So sports went away. Everybody knows that, just as most things have. But Florida seems to be where sports will return. And by that I mean, controversially, the governor declared that sports business was an essential business in the state of Florida.
Starting with wrestling, apparently.
And that's what allowed.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, and that's why
the
WWE, right? The WWE, they had their WrestleMania from the facility, I guess, and now the UFC will return actually next Saturday, and it will do so from an empty venue in Jacksonville.
Wow.
So the UFC will return really as the first live sports in North America, certainly in the United States, and it will do so from Florida for 3 consecutive events before things kind of, return for the UFC to this new Fight Island. But it's strange to say the least, but once again, Florida at the center of the controversy, as we always seem to be regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. It is where we always seem regardless. And I mean, obviously, UFC, I've seen it on television and stuff like that, but now they're not able to accommodate fans in in-house. So everything will have to be televised. Was everything televised before? Is that a huge adjustment they're going to have to undertake to figure out more airtime for these events? How is all that working out?
Well, yeah, I mean, some folks stand to benefit from there being, no fans in attendance, and some folks stand to lose majorly as a result. The UFC has done a tremendous job in the last couple of years of not only selling out a majority, if not all, of their events, but having record-breaking gates time after time. The UFC, a couple of years ago, signed a deal with ESPN, which legitimized not just MMA, but the UFC, which is the league itself. Mm-hmm. And it's a multi-billion-dollar deal. Now, we're talking about people who are missing whatever type of competitive experience, and people who maybe aren't even fight fans, let alone sports fans. And they're going to tune in because it becomes an event. It becomes something that is happening that is live, that people are tweeting about, posting on Instagram about, and they want to witness it or they want to participate in it. So they may not be a normal fan in any capacity, but they're going to check in to see what it is, because we're living now in this shared experience world of everyone watching Tiger King or everyone watching the benefit from home stay-at-home concert. But the UFC stands to benefit from there not being other live events or people being locked down at home. Now they've got a captive audience that may tune in to see what this is. And as a result, they can now grow some subscribers to the ESPN Plus app and certainly grow some fans to the sport that never existed before. So I think it's beneficial to them. And, there's a few sports where you really, it's easier to return to because the logistics. In MMA, there's 2 people fighting and 1 referee. You can quarantine now all of them for, 7-10 days before and after if you're so concerned. Football is very difficult. There's 22 people on the field. Right. Basketball, not only are there 20 people on the court, but they're all touching the same ball, sweating on it, breathing on each other, etc. Tennis you can do without fans. Golf you can do without fans. And MMA you can certainly do without fans.
Now, we had just, sorry, Jim, we had just started, as you just mentioned, spring training for baseball, which is huge in Florida.
You're going exactly where I was going to go.
So I know they have talked about, playing all the games in Florida and Arizona and trying to rearrange stuff. Are we any closer to a decision on what's going to happen to baseball?
Yeah, baseball is trying to figure out what, not only, they're in a labor discussion with players, because players don't want to take a pay cut, as most of us already have, and they don't want to reduce the amount of games in the schedule. No sport is more obsessed with their numbers and maintaining that status quo as baseball is. There's major rules.
Do they think they're going to get any sympathy from anybody, the players? Because
and that's what they got to be careful about. I mean, taking a pay cut seems to be a smart idea. Certainly not being, it should be a prorated amount. If you're playing 100 games instead of 162 games, you should expect to be paid for 100, not 162.
Yeah, like everybody else in the world.
It'd be a bad look if the players union says, no, we're not wanting to do that, particularly when a nation right now, has 30 million people that have applied for unemployment, record high since the Great Depression, per capita. But baseball would like to return, not only realizing, hey, majority of the people are going to watch on television anyway. It provides some normalcy. It provides some semblance of escape. It's just good for business. And baseball is not in a position where they could just lose a year. They're just financially not in a position, let alone with fan base.
And
baseball is losing people that attend or play.
Yeah, these are athletes too. These are athletes who are their bodies have to maintain a certain level of conditioning. And part of that requires the effort of the games and the traveling and all of that stuff. So missing a whole year of that would take a hit on the athletes and their preparedness and everything else. So, but
for sure.
So as fans, how do we pay, what should we be looking out for and paying attention and trying to figure out what is the face of, sports fandom going to look like here in Florida in the next however many months? Like what should be the signs and signals that we should start to look for to figure as people start to figure all of that out?
Well, I mean, if you're paying attention to, sports news, ESPN app or .com, you're aware that, moves are being made. The NBA is ready to explore facilities and going above and beyond with health and safety concerns, because the NBA really, since this commissioner's taken over, this new commissioner, they've not gotten anything wrong. He's gotten everything right. And this is really the biggest test, because what we're seeing is some states are starting to lax and relax and open back up. But if you pay close attention to the news, you'll see that yesterday we lost another 2,500 plus Americans. Yeah. Now, that's on par with 9/11. We're having almost a 9/11 every day in American deaths, but it doesn't feel that way because it's not the shock and the horror. Right. And this is worn off for and by a lot of people. So remember, it's not just about, these stadiums and these teams and these leagues being legitimately careful and concerned for the health and well-being of everyone. They're worried about lawsuits. They're worried about making the security guard or the dude that sells popcorn come back to work, and then someone being exposed or getting sick. Now you're talking about class action lawsuits that get into the billions and trillions of dollars. So these major corporations are most mindful. Sure, they care about the safety and well-being of people, but at the end of the day, they care about the bottom line and, the shareholders and the investors and the owners and the dividends per quarter. So we can't fool ourselves into thinking that. Sports will return. Some will return for television, like the UFC next Saturday night. Some will return in the form of golf. This Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady televised golf foursome event. That'll happen, I guess, at the end of May. They're talking about maybe Memorial Day weekend. But people will see that things are starting to return. It's just that the idea of putting 20,000 people in an arena, the American Airlines Arena for a heat game, that's a far ways off. Yeah. 100,000 people at a college football game, that's a long ways off. College football may be delayed to start. The season may not begin for a while. It may not be played with fans, or maybe delayed and without fans. So we really don't know where we're at, but we do know this. If you pay attention to virus, and particularly novel virus, there is a second wave. There just always is. And that would be, this fall, right when those major sports, our football returns, which is huge for television, huge for revenue on site. And let's be honest, some of these colleges and universities, they don't operate without football. So forget, paid athletes and taking pay cuts. There are colleges and universities that may not, their athletic programs survive by missing a 2019 football season if it were to come to that.
That's true. And I think if I were to give the people out there any one bit of advice on if they're sports fans and they want to stay in the know, my piece of advice would be to tune in every day from 3 to 5 and listen to Josh Cohen and the home team. So where can people find you, Josh, other than what I just said, as far as online and stuff? How can people connect with you?
Well, people can listen to the show either at ESPN 106.3 or worldwide. People listen on the ESPN app. But a great way to do it is simply tell your smart speaker, hey, Google or hey, Alexa, play ESPN 106.3, and then it will immediately stream for free. Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, I'm easy to find. Josh Cohen Radio, all one word. If you try just Josh Cohen, it might be tough because there's about 40 million of those dudes with that name.
Very common name.
Josh Cohen Radio, yeah, it's so unique. Josh Cohen Radio is how you find me on those platforms. And yeah, we'll have information on this, but we like to have fun and a good time. We try to mix information with entertainment, with keeping things in perspective. We're in the middle of a real pandemic, and people need to realize that what they want is not necessarily what they need. And this is a time where everyone's got to compromise and sacrifice a little bit. It's the least you can do. You're just being asked to stay home and watch television. You're not asked to be, to go to a foreign land to fight on, storm the beaches of Normandy, potentially give your lives. So I think all of us should maybe examine how we can suck it up a little bit and give a little so we can do our part.
That's right. And when I ask people how they can find you, Josh, I'm shocked as everybody else that you didn't just volunteer for them to meet me in your lobby or your clubhouse again and run into you awkwardly.
Yeah, here at this condo, I don't know if the clubhouse is still open. I think they shut that down. So don't meet me here. If you're my neighbor, don't talk to me.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Josh, for joining us today. You've been an absolute pleasure. And I hope more people listen and tune in. And I can't wait to see you again and give you a big old hug when we are allowed. Thank you so much, Josh.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me, guys. Y'all be safe.
Thanks a bunch.
Officer in need of assistance from animal control.
So one way we can fend off cabin fever during our quarantine is through exploring our great outdoors. Of course, still practicing social distancing, right? You don't want to get all clumped up like we've seen people at the beach. Come on. But just be aware that when you do so in Florida, there's quite a bit of wildlife out there to greet you, as always, but especially a particularly dangerous animal, and especially right now. So Wesh 2 News has a story out of Manatee County.
Watch your step. That's the warning from Gatorland this morning as more people are spending time outdoors. We know Florida is no stranger to snakes or alligators, and you could bump into them on a nature walk. Wesh 2's Megan Mulatto shows us what you can do to have a safe encounter.
According to the experts at Gatorland, American alligators are the ones you might be seeing along your neighborhood trail, especially if there's water nearby. They say alligators are particularly out and about right now because it's mating season.
All the big guys are trying to attract the ladies, so there are lots of alligators around, and they're also on the move, trying to find girlfriends, trying to find boyfriends. So absolutely, now is probably one of the times you're going to see alligators the most.
Apparently, alligators of all kinds of sexual orientation. And you remember when we talked to Kermit last week from Key West Key Lime Shop, I asked him, I said, there's so many animals now invading the streets now that the people aren't in them. Are there any roosters walking around? But I didn't think that maybe there'll be alligators all of a sudden in the streets. And apparently they're ready to pounce. So what do you do if you're out walking around minding your own business and you come across an alligator? And what should you not do? Go ahead and let's find out there, Glenn.
And if you do see one, admire them from afar.
Take pictures from far away, just don't get close to them. And by all means, don't feed them.
Especially your hand or your arm. Let's not feed them your arm.
Voluntarily or otherwise, don't feed.
Let's not feed them.
And if there's any doubt left whether you should heed their warnings, just listen.
Well, this is an American alligator, and even though this one's only about 2.5 feet long, they can get up to 12 to 14 feet long and weigh up to 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
We saw some of those too. We were over in the the Everglades. Oh, they were huge.
They're huge. Oh, that's right. We saw one, and then we saw when we were on when we did the airboat tour with JoJo. Yep. We took him on an airboat tour, and we saw a couple that time, an airboat tour company that shall not be named, but we saw some there too. So they're easy to spot when you go looking for them, but I didn't realize they'd be so easy to spot when you're not looking for them. Oh my gosh. But unfortunately, gators are only one kind of critter that you can come across the trails right now. And as you've heard throughout listening to this program, you know that there are quite a few out there. And it seems like, as we've said many times, there's always something in Florida ready to kill you.
Everything is going to kill you.
So
From animals to people to
it's true.
Why people move here, I'm not sure.
I don't know. And I don't know. Sunshine and beaches. I think I hear something about sunshine and beaches. But let's hear what else can be crawling around across those trails there, Glenn.
And when it comes to snakes, Gatorland experts say there are 55 species in Florida. 6 of those are venomous. The most common in our area are black racers, rat snakes, pygmy rattlesnakes, and the cottonmouth snake, also known as a water moccasin. Venomous or not, they can all bite, so regardless of which one you might come across, it's best to not bother it.
If you happen to find yourself in a situation and you get bit by a venomous snake, your best tool, dial 911. Get a hold of the authorities, get to a hospital as quickly as you can, get yourself the treatment that you need. But otherwise, these guys aren't going to mess with you.
In Osceola County, Megan Mulatto, Wesh 2 News.
Okay, I'm going to do one thing before I dial 911. It's freak the hell out. I'm going to do that first.
Are you kidding me? No, this is something. Put this on the side of the paper that says things that will never happen to Glenn. You want to know why? Because you will never be around a snake in the first place. I remember episode 6B. If people rewind back to our trip to Billy Swamp Safari, I'm not even going to bring up the reptile tour house. That was a whole nother, that was just sad, Glenn. That was just sad. But we went to Billy Swamp Safari. They had a reptile room, and you wouldn't even walk in.
I wouldn't even go in. No. So even actually that it's appropriate that you're talking about this. I've been riding my bike around our equestrian neighborhood, and every time I ride now, I see black snakes on the road. They're coming out to sun themselves in the morning. And I've come across black snakes everywhere. And then we just had a report in the neighborhood that there has been a rattlesnake on the other side. It was 6 feet long. So the 1 year here, they actually killed 7 rattlesnakes in our neighborhood.
Oh my gosh!
So
Glenn,
we do have to be careful. They're here.
How did you not move immediately?
So we have to be careful. Like, I think about it. We have these great big water barrels outside for the horses, and they're hollow underneath. And you pour them over to empty them and clean them. And every time I pour one over, I think, oh God, let there not be a snake.
Oh my God. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. In fact, I don't know. I don't think you know how you do it. And I just decided right here and now, the found footage we're going to include later on in the episode will be from Reptile World when I forced you to hold a snake.
I didn't like that at all. And Jemmy's this crazy ex-snake owner, weirdo.
I was scrolling Facebook and my friend, my friend Angela, she snapped a picture and she wrote on Facebook that apparently her daughter's snake got out. So they just all night wondering where the hell is this snake? And she finally found it in the blinds of her window, apparently trying to get out.
See, I figure I got that one out of the way. Never on an adventure again am I holding a snake. I can tell you that right now.
Nope.
I didn't mind holding the little alligator, but that's not the snake.
That's what you think.
And when I hear about people, I want to ask you, because everybody's watched it now. When I hear people, we talked about it on the show, but I can't help not talk about it. Every time I hear about somebody, losing a part to an alligator or anything, I think about that poor girl on Tiger King.
I know. And I also think, why can't anybody get her a bottle of lotion? Gosh, the end of that stump looks awful. It's so ashy.
Can we cover it or something? I don't know. I know it's awful.
We're the worst.
I know. But that's all. And everybody that watched it thought the same thing. And the other thing is, could that guy please put on a shirt?
I didn't realize that this critter segment was going to lead to a full-on tirade from about on-screen etiquette.
Tell me anybody that's watched that has stopped thinking about it. None of us has stopped thinking about it. Have you stopped thinking about it?
I'm trying to, but apparently I'm failing because somebody refuses to not bring it up. From shirtless, toothless guys. Oh, yes, every girl's dream.
All right, well, it is time for us to travel back in time to when we were,
allowed to travel.
Yeah, still moving around the state.
And we got to visit the tradition of our aerospace culture and lifestyle and technology and innovation and all of that here in Florida. Back on our 11th adventure, took us visiting small towns coast to coast. And we got to do a lot in there, including I got to force Glenn to hold snakes. That was so much fun. But in addition to that, we also got to visit the Aerospace Center for Excellence. And that was excellent. It was really amazing. We had a lot of fun. So we're going to pull a quick clip and play it for you now of our time there. And then if you want to hear more, just find the link in the show notes and we'll link you right into the episode. Here's our 11th adventure.
The biggest, baddest air show in the South is back and better than ever. The Sun and Fun International Fly-In returns to Lakeland with not one but 2 jet teams. See thousands of aircraft daily at the biggest air show in the South. It's bigger, it's faster, it's louder, it's sun and fun.
We are here at the Aerospace Museum and just walked in. And the first thing we did was meet Logan, who's behind the counter. And we saw that there's an academy across the street. We just mentioned it. And you happen to go there. So tell us what the academy is.
Yeah, so it's a 4-year high school. They have 4 tracks there, which is aerospace, which is the basic course for pilots. They have A&P, which is like mechanics, avionics, the electronics, and they have engineering.
So it's like a trade school for aerospace.
Yeah.
I never even knew that existed.
And you said it's part of the high school, but it's separate it's separated out. So but you can still take all your core classes in that one location.
Yep. And they have a high school, or they have a scholarship over there where you can get your private pilot's license for free.
Oh my gosh.
Are you doing that?
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
And how far into it are you?
I soloed about 2 months ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see you in a pilot outfit and everything, can't you? With the little calf and all that. So
how scary was that, your solo?
It was different. It was lighter without the...
Lighter?
Without the instructor.
But, I mean, was it scary? Or do you have so much confidence by then you're pretty sure you can handle it?
I could handle it. It was fun. It was a good experience.
But I mean, you've always had him sitting over there going, I'm going to take this. I'm going to fix this if it goes wrong.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
If there's anything that gets into the heads of your classmates and stuff that keep any kind of fear, what would the fear? If there any fear that gets into their heads, what would it be?
I would think weather's a big one.
Weather.
Wind is really bad.
That makes sense.
In Florida, we don't have any weather here.
No, we have no problems with weather whatsoever here in Florida.
Or daily thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Well, that's very
gosh.
cool. Well, congratulations.
And so you fly a Cessna 150, you
yep.
said. Wow,
Yeah.
how long have you been flying that?
I've been flying for at least 4 or 5 months now.
Wow, good for you. Good for you.
And do you want to be a pilot? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I would like to be a pilot, yeah.
Are they going to make you go to college, too?
Yeah, I'll probably go to college.
Thank God. I mean, I like to know that my pilots have gone to college.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Logan, so much. Great meeting you.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
So we are here still at the Aerospace Museum in Lakeland, Florida. And it's appropriate that we're here because flying is such a huge part of Florida with the space program and everything. Everybody's been looking at Florida for years when it comes to flight.
Right.
All kinds.
Right. Sure.
Space shuttle, everything else.
Everything. There are air shows all the time. There's so many airports. There's so many everything. It's crazy.
One of the interesting things is that at this airport we're at Lakeland is the home of the Sun and Fun, which is the second largest air show and fly-in, which means a whole bunch of planes fly in from all over the country.
Oh my gosh.
It has attendance of 300,000 people.
So, fun fact about me, can you guess how many air shows I've been to? You're never going to get this right.
You're never going to guess it. How many air shows do you think I've been
Zero.
to? Okay, you got it right. That was a real tough question.
I've
never been to an air show.
You've never seen the Thunderbirds
Do you
fly?
know why? Because I'm so nervous I'm going to see a tragedy firsthand.
That doesn't happen at most air.
I know. I'm sure it's never happened at this one.
I've been to like a dozen. I love air shows. But and that happens here. And it started in 1974. And in 1974, it was their first year. They advertised it in the magazine. And they had 1,900 guests show up at 365 aircraft. So what happened is immediately after that, it became very popular for
By the way, we're looking at a newspaper clipping that's older than me. You know that, right?
Exactly. And it looks like it was older than you, actually. And it was held in January that year. And it's held every year. So look up Sun and Fun Fly-In.
Yeah, right here in Lakeland.
Now, I have a quiz for you.
Okay,
so...
You purposely positioned me this way, and I can't wait to find out why.
Okay.
Why? Why am I standing with my back to a wall?
Here at the museum, it has the top 10 busiest airports in Florida.
You're going to have me guess, aren't you?
Yeah, so I want you to guess
this is where I prove how stupid I am.
Would be the busiest. If you were to guess the busiest airport in Florida, what would you guess?
I would guess, Miami and Orlando have to be on the list. Come on.
Okay. Which one would be the busiest?
You're not letting me do a twofer. Okay, I will say the busiest. Because of the international flights, I'm going to go on a limb and say Miami.
You're right. And I think a lot of people would think Orlando.
I know my business. I know my stuff.
I think a lot of people would say Orlando, don't you?
Yeah, I almost said it.
Disney,
almost said it. I almost said it. But
no, it's Miami, and you got it for the top two right. Miami and Orlando.
Oh, really? Those are top two? Look at me go.
You'll never guess what the third one is.
Pensacola.
Nope. I would have guessed. I don't
know why I guessed.
I would have guessed Tampa.
Tampa.
It's because there's a lot of flights coming in out of Tampa.
Yeah. It's not Tampa?
No, it's Hollywood International.
Oh, Fort Lauderdale.
Yep. Yeah. That's Fort Lauderdale's airport. Tampa's then on the list. Southwest Florida International. I don't know.
Is West Palm on there at all? Palm Beach International?
Then we have Palm Beach International's number 6.
Wow. So I live within an hour of 3 of the top
That's
6.
Right. You do.
I said top 4 because I'm dumb.
Jacksonville's next. Pensacola's number 8.
Okay.
Sarasota is on there, number 9. I didn't know. Bradenton. Yeah, Sarasota, Bradenton.
Okay.
And then Orlando Sanford Airport, which I've flown out of before.
It must be like the smaller adjunct.
It's a smaller airport. Yeah, it's a little ways north of Orlando. So there you go. There's your top 10 airports in Florida. You did good. Yeah, and you live near a lot of them. So we're going to wrap it up here from the museum, and website is
Fly SNF for Sun and Fun, flysnf.org.
There you go. And if you're ever in the Lakeland area, which is between Orlando and Tampa, stop in.
Absolutely.
Well, on our community clipboard for this month, I have to highlight, and we're going to do a positive here in this time of COVID, and that is Publix is doing some cool stuff in supporting local farmers. And what they're doing is they're actually buying up milk and produce from farmers that are having to destroy it because they don't have their distribution channels of restaurants and things like that.
Yeah.
And
it's this weird, sad dichotomy that we have people who are in food lines at food banks.
Miles long.
And yet farmers, because they can't get the food from one place to the other, are having to dump it. It's been crazy.
Well, and if that's where Publix is coming in, they're actually buying up that food and giving it to food banks. In their first week of the initiative, they bought 150,000 pounds of produce and 43,000 gallons of milk that were donated, and they were going to continue that for as long as it was deemed necessary. Because they led the way, I read today that Giant and some of the other big food chains around the country have followed suit and are doing the same thing now.
That's amazing. I mean, big ups to Publix. Publix, if you're a Floridian, you know and love Publix. There's one on like every block. I mean, when someone says, I'm going to go to Publix, you have like, I don't know about you, but I have like 4 or 5 I can choose from.
You do.
It's so ridiculous, but it's awesome because they're in with everything that's going on right now, there are some industries that because of the crisis are doing very, very well. And just as a natural extension of it, and that includes grocery stores. So to see them take the opportunity to be able to give back to the community like this, it makes me so happy. It warms my heart.
Do you want to know what makes me even happier?
What?
Is they now deliver out to our neighborhood, which we could never get living rural before. We have no delivery of pizza, Chinese. We don't get anything delivered out here. But Publix, when this started, some people in our neighborhood, our equestrian neighborhood, requested that they come out here, and they did. They started coming out because there's so many seniors in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
So now we have this nice lady in a Volvo who delivers our groceries.
Of course, a Volvo. Of course. I love that. Now, we talk about the things that we want to stay after this pandemic versus the things that we want to go back to. I have a feeling increase in your delivery options is something you want to stay.
Yes. I told Jennifer, I said, I think it's through Instacart.
Okay.
So I said, we're going to keep doing this because it's kind of nice. We could just have dinner delivered and we'll actually be like delivery.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Who else I think needs to opt for delivery moving forward?
Who's that?
My friend Jared. My poor friend Jared. If you rewind back to episode 26, I shared with you a video that my friend Jared had recorded from the parking lot of a wonderful Publix, I'm sure, of a woman who was making her best effort at having a mask, but failing because she was using her panties on her head.
Oh, that's right, her panties. Panty head lady.
Well, Jared didn't learn his lesson and went back to ground zero. And I was scrolling through Facebook and I came across this post from him the other day, and oh my gosh, I was laughing once again. Listen to this. He says, I'm sure we can all relate. He's like, am I the only one this happened to? Second time. I went to a store to grab a few things. Of course, I wear a mask like everyone else. And as I'm walking around the aisles, I lock eyes with a man I thought I knew. And by the way, he looked back at me. Perhaps he knew me also. In that split-second moment it took to process who he is, as all I see is his eyes, forehead, and hair, we quickly break our stare. But I was thinking, was that him? I look back at him to find him staring back at me like he knew me. Again, questioning myself if I knew him. And just like that, we looked away and walked opposite ways, never to see each other again. It was a weird feeling. We were probably 20 feet apart and no words were exchanged. I initially thought it was a good friend of mine, but because of the mask and the distance, I was not able to tell. It created an awkward moment, and now that I think about it, it's kind of funny. What a strange time to be alive. Yes,
I want
Jared.
you to know that if I was 20 feet from you and we were both wearing masks, I would recognize you.
Especially if I was in Ocala, I think I would stick out. But oh my gosh, we talk about our own experiences wearing masks, just navigating, like walking around each other. It's just, It's such a weird time we're in right now. And when I read his post, I was just dying laughing.
You know, I don't recognize people when there's no masks. I would be. Jemmy, we go so many places. She said, you met this person before. And I'm like, okay.
It's like, I always have to figure out what phrase can I do to jostle your memory. Good
We're
Lord.
talking away to him. And Jemmy will be dropping me hints because she knows I have no idea.
Oh Lord. But you and I we've talked a lot about it, but you and I actually got into a really good conversation about all these weird quirks of this adjustment of living in these here today times. And we did that on the latest episode of People of Florida. You're my guest. Yay, Glenn. It's episode 11 and it featured Glenn the Geek. So go check out People of Florida, now available, episode 11.
Oh, it's out? Okay, good.
Yeah, with Glenn the Geek.
All right, good. I'll have to post that.
Yay.
Your friends at the Florida Podcast Network want to use our platform to keep us all informed and connected. And while these conversations are greatly needed right now, and we hope they are helping you get through this trying time, we are podcast hosts, not experts in coronavirus or any other kind of medical issue. Please consult and follow the CDC's guidelines at cdc.gov. That's cdc.gov. Then please visit floridapodcastnetwork.com/coronavirus for some additional resources and ways to connect to your local community. With social distancing being our call to arms, we need to feel more connected than ever. So by visiting floridapodcastnetwork.com/coronavirus, you will help us all get through this with additional resources and ways to connect. Stay safe and healthy, and wash those hands.
Well, thanks for tuning in again, because you have now arrived to the answer portion of this episode, where we visit our mystery sound from last week. So if you have forgotten, here's that mystery sound one more time. Still just as good. Okay. So we got 2 listener submitted guesses, but you know the answer, Glenn. So I won't even bother asking whether or not you think either of these are true. But thank you so much to Christina in Fort Myers and to Janet in Juno Beach. So Christina, her guess was that was the sound of someone jumping on a bed and then falling off.
It does sound like that, actually.
It does sound like that repetitive kind of springy sound, right? And
Yep.
I think that's what Janet thought too, because her guess was very similar. She said someone jumping on a trampoline.
Yeah, it could have been that too. Yep.
Now, what's funny, this came from my home. Now, in my son's dad's house, he has a massive trampoline. This thing's got to be at least 6 feet wide. It's huge, right? But this was taken.
But it's actually in the house, isn't it?
It's in the living room. But this was not that. Don't get me started. But this was not that. There was actually zero jumping whatsoever in that entire clip. That was my son, Jordan. So Jordan has fallen in love with the sport of boxing. And why has he recently fallen in love with the sport of boxing, Glenn?
Because you made me buy him a boxing bag.
Dang it! I was trying to push the blame onto you, and you circled it. I see what you did there.
What do you want? What does he want for Christmas? And when you said the boxing bag, I went, are you sure? Because that's going to be loud and obnoxious all the time.
Technically, I sent you a full list, and you chose the boxing
bag. Because one of the things you learn as a non-parent is to buy the most loud, obnoxious toys you can for people who are parents.
Oh, talk about a forget-me-not. I'll remember you every time. So yeah, what he does is he does this boxing match with himself. And so he punch. And then what the calamity you hear is him pretending he's just been knocked out. So he then throws himself.
Does it ever come back to hit him in the face?
Now, when he throws himself onto a piece of furniture like the couch or the ottoman or whatever, and so that's what you just heard. That was my son acting out a fight scene from Rocky, apparently, but getting knocked out. Courtesy
You're
of
welcome.
one Glenn the Geek.
You're welcome. Next time, don't give me something noisy on the list because you know I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, just wait till you see what I get Jen for her birthday.
Oh, that reminds me something else too. I'm going to just throw in here.
Yeah.
Apparently, puzzle sales are up like 400%.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yes. And I want to thank you because one thing you got me, this is what reminded me. You got us for Christmas was a puzzle. It was a Star Wars puzzle.
It was.
It is the most, we have it half built. It is the most relaxing thing. I forgot how relaxing putting a puzzle together
Man,
was.
I thought you were going to say it was irritating. I was going to
No, it was
so much
so
joy.
relaxing and lovely and made no noise and there was no bouncing. And it's so relaxing. So thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
I can see why, you build a puzzle and you say that to yourself when you're building it. God, this is relaxing. It forces you just to stop. And you have to concentrate, right? Because you can't be thinking about other stuff. And then you don't build up another puzzle again for 15 years. And then you go, wow, this is relaxing. I should do this more often. And then you don't. But thank you. It's been great.
Great plug for the puzzle company.
Yeah.
I can tell if they love that or we're like, really?
But isn't it true? To be honest, it's like playing Monopoly. You play it once every 15 years.
Oh, the puzzle and Monopoly folks are loving us at quarantine right now. They're loving this.
It's true.
Well, thanks for coming along with us once again as we continue finding Florida, even in the midst of this outbreak. Oh my goodness, when is it ever going to end? But during this time, we're trying to do everything we can to keep your spirits up and, feel connected and stuff. So we're sharing all of our content across all of our shows. There's usually a coronavirus slant right now, but we talk about all kinds of things, but we're just trying to keep ourselves connected and informed. So you can join us on FloridaPodcastNetwork.com/coronavirus for a bunch of information, resources local to you and different industries and your neck of the woods and whatnot. And then you can connect with us, me, Glenn, the other hosts across the network, and a bunch of family and friends through Facebook. We're on a Facebook group. FPN Insiders is closed, but you just have to knock on the door and we'll let you right in. Virtually, right? We're not allowed to let you in real life, but we will let you through the FPN Insiders store. So you can find us there.
If you know of any cool news, especially of the positive or extra goofy sort to help lighten our moods, please email Jemmy at JAIME@FloridaPodcastNetwork.com.
Oh my gosh, people have been sending me so much good stuff, and I just want to say thank you because you're making my job so much easier. And whether I end up sharing it in the Insiders group or on this show or one of the other shows or whatever, our listeners are amazing. Or on that coronavirus landing page with the ideas for the inside and all the fun. You guys are you're doing awesome. So yeah, please email me more. We're getting through this together. Not to sound cliche, but whatever. And you can also find us on social media as always. Just search for Find FL Podcast.
And here's to your next Florida adventure from the comfort of your living room or kitchen.
Or bathroom. Or bedroom. Patio if you're lucky.
Yeah, yard if you have one.
Stupid coronavirus.